Do you think we're in World War III right now?
No, I think that we are about to enter a wide regional conflict, and I don't think it's going to escalate to where it could, but I don't think it's gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, when
Like
I
I
do
had to
not.
look up the definition of World War III earlier because I think it was Kyle Kalinske. He said he was like, "Oh, we're in World War III now," and like
Now
made it sound like I was
he,
like, "Oh
he
no, what is going on?
he's
Hold
being
on."
he's being hyperbolic, and I'd say there is a chance, but we're not there yet. And if I had a guess, I think this is going to be another proxy war. But like I said, I got some stuff on this for later in the show, so we'll hold off on that for the time being. We'll get to Israel and Iran at the end. So that's a cliffhanger for anybody watching. If you want to hear about Israel and Iran, stick around.
Yeah, like
Um,
and subscribe.
yeah. Hey, real quick, I didn't even have this on the notes, but we talked last time about how Trump initially was saying mass deportations, get them all, every single one, and the business owners kind of started to flip out because he was taking their illegal migrant labor. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He
So,
totally backed down on um what was it, hospitality and farm workers.
yes. So there was actually an official directive sent from Tatum King, who is a senior ICE official. She sent it to the regional leaders of ICE, and this was on Friday. The directive reads, effective today, please hold on all worksite enforcement investigations and operations on agricultural, including agricultural and meatpacking plants, and then restaurants, operating hotels, and hold on, where's the operating hotels and she wrote that in the message. So hotels, restaurants, meatpacking plants, agricultural, so farms. So they're officially
Okay.
not doing raids there anymore. So that when he said mass deportations, the people that were not for that were saying, "Hey, those people are really integral to our economy. Like we need those." So now I guess he's getting the message. You would have thought he would have known that, but anyhow, so that's where we're at now. There are people like
Well, I mean,
Roseanne.
this is what people have been screaming for since he got elected, right? Like
Yes.
we're gonna have fruit dying on the trees. Like crops are just gonna be dying. Like we're gonna lose a ton of money and a ton of food
Mhm.
because they're not even gonna go to work
Yep.
because they're
And
afraid to be arrested. So
MAGA voters were telling people like me and you, that's not true. No, Americans will work those jobs, and they were arguing that we were lying about that. And now that Trump said it, though, they're like, "Oh, Trump's got a point." And it's like we've been staying anyhow. It's
yeah,
very upsetting. So
I'm really tired of MAGA. MAGA's MAGA's like if you're MAGA right now, like you are the dumbest of people. You honestly you don't have an education. Like I don't know if you went to high school, if you graduated high school. If you did, it was a fluke. Something happened, or you lost your intelligence.
I respectfully disagree with your statement. Respectfully,
Why?
because I know a bunch of people that would consider themselves MAGA that are very educated, and I think it all comes
Well, they're
down
not
to
educated on ongoing topics right now. Like if you actually look at what's going on in the world and you still support Donald Trump, you're an idiot.
so.
And I'm going to say that flat out to any of you MAGAs out there.
Here's the thing:
You're an idiot.
based off the information you're being given, okay, you believe that. If I can't believe anybody would think differently than me, because look at all the stuff that I'm seeing, and you're seeing one side of things, they're seeing a completely different side of things, and they think the same thing as you. They're like, I can't believe any idiots out there would be fill in the blank, whatever it is. And it all comes
I
down
look
to
at
the
both sides. You look at both sides. A lot of people look at both sides of the argument.
no,
Even if it's just like for a short period of time, you're like, "Oh, what's Fox News saying?" And then you're like, "Oh God, this is crazy." And then you go back to your bubble.
you're really underestimating confirmation bias. And I think if people do happen to accidentally see the other side of the argument, they immediately write it off as, oh, that's the lying media or whatever it might be, and they
So
don't
you're
want to
saying
believe
we
it.
could be the crazy ones, and Mag is right.
I believe that I believe that we are on
Is
the
that what
right
you're
side,
saying?
but I'm saying it's kind of a coin flip at times. Like there are some things. Here, let me see if you agree with this. There are some things that we've both noticed that the left wing media is full of shit about, and a lot of far left is like, yeah, and it's like, hey, that's not true. Like what you're upset about is fictional. You've seen that before,
Just
right?
few. It happens sometimes, yes.
But it happens on both sides, right? It's not just a right wing thing. It can happen on the left too, right?
No, but if you want to put it to any like faction, like if you want to put a percentage, it's like 1 to 99%.
Me and Elon's AI, Grok, both would happen to say that it's a bigger
So
problem on the right.
even AI
Yeah.
is saying it. Okay.
Yes. So, but
So the right has been doing it for a long time
they've 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 weaponized it.
since Rush Limbaugh, really.
They've weaponized it. And
Yeah.
the first thing on our agenda tonight is a perfect example of how it's I don't even it's they've got what's the word? They got a playbook, and the playbook is working phenomenally. So, real quick, you saw what happened Saturday morning in Minnesota, right?
I did.
So for people that didn't see, I'm going to run through it real quick. A guy that works for a security company, he's got a Ford Explorer that looks like a cop car. It's got a light bar, it's got the little spotlight thing. Very much looks like a cop car. He's in what appears to be a police uniform. He's got a vest on, he's got a taser. He looks like a cop. He's also, and this is creepy as heck, he's also wearing a latex mask. And I sent you a picture of this. Can you pull this up real quick? And you might want to, I don't know if you can zoom in on one or the other or whatever you want to do, as long as you think we can see it. I'll bet we can see it fine like that. So,
Well, this is a more focused photo, but it's very wrinkly. I mean, if
it
that shows up at my door, am I going to open that door? No.
So yeah, so but this is the guy. This is what he's wearing. It's like it's creepy. Like the eyes, if you can zoom in on either of the eyes, that's where it's the creepiest. But apparently it's a latex mask. If you zoom out a little bit, he looks like a cop. If he knocks on your door in the middle of the night, you can see in the picture on the left, you can see that the police lights are on the top of his car. If you zoom into that top zoom into the top right corner of the picture on the left.
Yeah, I see it. Can you guys
Yeah.
see it? Yeah.
Like so he's got his lights on. You at middle of the night, early in the morning, somebody's knocking on your door, you can see the red and blues flashing, you open the door, he looks like a cop, okay? You're not going to take long enough to look at the patch to see if he's with the city. Anyhow,
Or the face mask.
the first house he shows up is a dude that's a state senator from Minnesota and his wife in there, and he shoots them both, but somehow does not kill them. They are critically injured. A neighbor across the street heard two gunshots, went to his window, and then saw a police cruiser backing out of the driveway and hauling ass down the street with its light bar on. So he immediately was like, "Something's not right here." Shots fired, and then he left. The cop left, calls the cops. The cops show. You can get rid of that picture now. The cops show up and this is excellent police work on certain cops here. But like as they're figuring out what's going on and they realize it might be a police impersonator, we've got a critically injured lawmaker here. Somebody has the bright idea and says, "Hey, let's go do welfare checks at the other lawmakers that live in this area, just to make sure. You know, people might be doing hits on state
Mm,
congressmen." So the next house they go to is she's like the Speaker of the House. She's a Democrat. These are both Democrat lawmakers. She's a Speaker of the House for the Minnesota State House. Um, by the time they get there, they pull up and there is that same cop car with the light bar on in the driveway already. So there's already a cop there. These cops don't really know what's going on yet. So they pull up behind that cop car, get out of their car. They're like, "Oh, somebody beat us here." And as they're walking up, this guy with the latex mask comes out the front door, sees them, immediately draws his weapon and opens fire on these two cops. These two cops dive down and take cover somewhere. He runs back into the house and they thought they had a standoff for a little bit, but apparently he ran back into the house and ran like straight through the house and out the back door. So he was gone. 10 seconds later, he was running through the woods beyond this house or wherever it was. They thought he was in the house, so they kind of set up a circle and all that. He's long gone. Um, anyhow,
hmm.
that's all we knew. And stuff started coming out. The first thing I saw was okay, he had a hit list in his car because he left his car at the second location, ran on foot. So he had a hit list in his car that had a couple different Democrat, Keith Ellison's the Attorney General, Tim Walz the governor, a couple other state Democrats, but also had Ilhan Omar, like the squad, basically. So it was
Okay.
a hit list, and then also had some Planned Parenthood locations.
Huh.
He also had a stack of flyers that just said no kings. Like it didn't have information Saturday, noon to 3 at this address. It just said no kings. So I was very confused, but pictures of that started coming out.
Hmm.
Okay. So I saw all that and I saw one or two like crazy right wing accounts were like, up, he was a Democrat. He had no Kings flyers in his car. So it was a Democrat that shot these Democrats. And I kind of looked at that and I laughed and I was like, "Oh, look, they're trying to say it was a Democrat." This I didn't think it would go anywhere, so I really paid no attention to it. Um, me and two buddies go to the No Kings protest later that day about noon, and as we're driving out there, one of my buddies, you've met him before, Matt. I think we got drunk and played Taboo together.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, he's telling me he's like, "Oh, I'm so frustrated right now. I'm texting somebody I work with, and apparently he jokingly said to this person because they were MAGA. He said, "Hey, do you want to go to the No Kings protest with us?" And the guy responded and said, "Man, I wouldn't associate with the No Kings protest, especially having a No Kings assassin out there right now. Like, it's not a good look to be a part of that group right now." And he told me
Oh,
that, and he was like, "What?" Hold on. He was confused. He was like, "What is he saying?" And I was like, "Oh, you know what? I did see something on Twitter where the right was trying to say this was a Democrat type person. Let me just open up Twitter to see what's going on." I open up Twitter, and the very first tweet I see is Elon retweeting an account saying that it was a No Kings protester that killed these two. So I'm like, oh, the loudest
oh,
voice on Twitter is saying that it was a No Kings assassin, basically out killing Democratic lawmakers. So then I scroll through, and it's the usual Jack
this
Posobiec.
has to be illegal. That has to be illegal.
No, and it was even like Senator Mike Lee from Utah, Posobiec, Cernovich, Elon, Mike Lee, some big far right accounts. Like these weren't nobodies. These were people that have followings. So they were
Doesn't
saying
this
so.
interfere? Doesn't this somehow interfere with a police investigation or something?
They're not going to do
Couldn't you
anything
say
about that.
spreading misinformation
I would say if you tried to attack somebody
interferes?
for tweeting shit like that, that would be a First Amendment violation, is what I would say. So they can say whatever they want on Twitter. If they were calling, here's the difference. If they were calling the police department, well, hey, I have a tip, blah 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 blah, and giving stuff they know to be fake, then they're interfering with the police investigation. They're tweeting shit. So I would say no, it's not.
Yeah, but if you're riling up the right, what if like somebody decides they want to go kill the No Kings because
Yeah.
they're a terrorist organization now or something?
What real quick, what was funny is my buddy Matt. His argument, he wasn't saying no, this was definitely a MAGA guy. He was basically telling the guy, hey, it's pretty early to be making that assumption. Like, don't you want to wait and see if some facts come out before we
Yeah.
decide who the shooter was or what he believed? And the guy I know the guy he was tweeting with, he's a good guy. Like it's one of those where every now and then, when you know somebody and you're like, oh, that's a good dude, he's a smart dude, and then he'll be like, yeah, I think the Earth is flat, and you're like, Jesus, I thought I knew him, but apparently I didn't. It was one of those days where I was like, really him? But he was very firm, and he kept tweeting, he kept sending pictures of tweets that were basically confirming that this was a Democrat. So it is a confusing story. So here I'm going to give you a little bit of info on this. This guy apparently he is either the owner or he's high up in a security firm. That's how he had the car and the uniform. Okay,
Mm,
even on his company's website it says we use the exact same model as police cruisers or something like that. Um,
okay.
but he also, because he's a leader in an industry, he was on a board. It was like an economic board. In states, governors have all these different boards and they appoint people. And in Minnesota and other purple states, they try to appoint left and right. They try to make it Democrats and Republicans. So he had
Okay.
been appointed to a board at one point by Governor Walz. Now, the board was a bunch of people, and there's no telling if Governor Walz has ever even met him. He's probably given a list of people. But anyhow, he was
Sure.
he was on a board appointed by Governor Walz. So that's the first thing that started coming out is an appointee of Governor Walz, and the girl that died, that was the Speaker of the House, she voted in favor of a budget that would kick illegal immigrants off of health care. And I saw she gave an interview where she was like crying and tearing up, and she was like, "I didn't want to have to do that, but we tried every way we could to balance the budget, and this is what." And she was like basically apologizing for making that vote, but she was like, "We promised we would have a balanced budget. We tried everything we could.
Oh shit.
That needed to happen. I feel terrible for it." But she was a Democrat, so they were saying this was a revenge killing. Governor Walz, this is a guy that he'd appointed to something, so he's working for Governor Walz, and Governor Walz ordered the hit on her. And everybody's saying on both of them because they voted against the bill. The guy who's in critical condition did not vote for that bill. He voted against it. So that story doesn't hold up right there because one of them voted for it, one voted against it, whatever. But then on top of that, videos start coming out. This dude, he was a evangelical minister for some group that is aligned with the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So there's videos all over Twitter, and I wanted to pull one,
I
but
saw one of these where he
so
was like speaking and then they would like translate it.
so the only reason I didn't pull it is it was confusing because he's speaking, and as he's speaking, there's a large black woman on stage with him that's translating it into whatever
Yeah.
language they speak in the Congo. I don't know, but he's like he's moving around on stage and getting fired up, and his every sermon I've seen has been anti-abortion, anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ of all types, like very evangelical Christian conservative, you would say. It seems very.
He voted for Trump.
So then later, it wasn't until like the next day we found out he's been a registered Republican as far back as they can see. I think 2004 was the furthest one back. Voted his roommates. This is also weird. He's married and he has kids and he owns a security firm, but he also lived in this little bitty house with two full-grown men as roommates. But he's married and has there's some things that
Where
don't add up here.
where does his wife and kids live?
Don't know. Nobody said yet. Now his wife got picked up. We'll talk about that in a second. But so they had his roommate later that day, and his roommate was like crying. The dude texted his two roommates and said, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I made a bad decision. I'm probably gonna get killed today. I don't want to implicate you guys in any of this. So all I can say is bye." Basically, I'm paraphrasing the text. But so the
Yeah.
roommate's like talking about this text he got from him, and he's like crying. But he also was like, "Yeah, no, he's a big Trump supporter. Like he voted for Trump, and he's a strong supporter and all that." So his roommate and two friends I've seen interviewed are either lying, maybe they're part of the conspiracy, maybe he is a Democrat, and this is all a setup. I doubt it. Um, but
Since 2004, when he registered as Republican
every
to trick the
dude,
Democrats.
every piece of evidence is that this is a MAGA evangelical Christian nationalist. Like that's what it appears. Okay, except for the fact that Governor Walz appointed him to a board at some point, and nobody even knows when that really happened, but at some point it appears that did happen. But
Okay.
that is, and also he had a stack of flyers that just said no kings on it, nothing else, just no kings. So those two pieces is what the far right is really clinging to right now and saying, and they want Governor Walz investigated. They want him arrested and investigated because clearly he ordered this hit. Um, but it's weird because that's the kind of shit that
Wow.
I would normally see that on Twitter and I would laugh and I would say, who believes this stuff? But then like somebody I know, somebody who's a smart dude believes that stuff. And now I've got a couple other buddies up here that are Republican that like I kind of wanted to text them today and be like, hey, who do you think the shooter was in this? Like, what do you think? And I'm really afraid to do it because I think I'd get the same answers I got from him. Like I really do. And that's scary to me.
Yeah, it's super scary.
Yeah. So, but that's like what led us into this though is the weaponization of misinformation, and like that's like that shooting happened, and before you could do anything, the story on the right was already. He's not MAGA. He's a Democrat. He's a Marxist. Senator Mike Lee tweeted several times saying that he was a Democrat. He was a Marxist. This is what happened when Marxism gets out of control. Blah blah blah. And it's like they got the narrative out there so fast. The information battle partly is who can get there first. Like it's sad. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. And within an hour of the shooting, if you were on Twitter, it seemed very clear this was a Democrat. This was a no kings protester that did it. There's no way to
This
combat that. There's no way to combat it because it's either you jump out there with very little information and start making some real definitive statements, or you sit back and wait to see what the information really is. And if you do that, if you sit back and wait, you're losing. The other side's getting their side out there.
um that's just it's messed up.
It is.
I
So
mean, it's just a lie. Like it's just basically like people are just believing lies
yeah.
that actually like have consequences,
Well, let me say this too.
right?
You're
These
correct, but this is something that I feel like is important to say. A lot of times when these things happen, the two different people that shot at Trump, like, or one of them never got a shot off, but the two assassins during the lead up to the election, like, they had really conflicted like background. Like, they don't fall into a bucket. A lot of times these people don't. It's like the guy with the Ukrainian dyed hair, but also was a Republican and was a Jeb Bush supporter. So like whenever there's an event like this, I don't step out and blame either side because I know that it's gonna be a little murky. Like, and I wait to
well, and
see what's gonna
this is
pop up.
the big problem is that everybody's a journalist now, and
Yeah,
everybody's tweeting out lies before, and they're not investigating, and they're not getting all the information. They're just tweeting these lies, and this could have huge ramifications, and it probably already has. Like,
yeah.
there's probably half of the people just saw one tweet and still believe that he's a Democrat,
Mm.
and then. So how do we fix this? This is a giant issue. You can't have just lies running around the streets, especially when it comes to like who murdered who.
So I'm
Like, is Twitter going to be the beginning of World War or a civil war in America?
to be the downfall of America. Um,
Yeah,
I'll say this:
already maybe.
I don't think we can fix it, and the way that we could fix it would be to like restore trust in the media. And let me explain on that for a second because
Where is Twitter?
Twitter is now the media. Um, but here's the problem: is that day that we were arguing with the guy that Matt works with, I could have sent him articles from ABC, CBS, CNN, whoever. I could have sent him all the news articles in the world, and he would have said, "Ah, I don't believe that. Loomer is saying this, or Cernovich is saying this, or whatever."
Loomer doesn't have.
But they don't. They think the media is less trustworthy than the people they're following online that they trust. I I can somewhat resonate with that though, because there's certain people that I pay attention to, and for whatever reason, I've decided I trust this person. They've been right about most things, so if he's saying it, it carries extra weight. Okay, and maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm putting my faith in some people that I probably shouldn't. I don't know. So I can kind of sympathize with the people that there's certain people they trust and certain they don't, and they definitely don't trust the media.
But like, let's just take Loomer for example. Like,
Okay,
how often is she wrong?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to her enough. I really so I had a close family member one time that called me, and the first thing out of this person's mouth was, "Hey, what do you think about that tweet Loomer had about blah blah blah?" And I about lost my mind because I was like, "Please tell me you're not talking about Laura Loomer." And this person was. And after that, I started paying attention because in my mind, I was like, I want to know what this person is being fed. And yeah, Loomer, she's just very hateful. She's more hateful than she is wrong, I will say. Uh, our good buddy that I don't know how to say this right. Our good buddy Kevin that was a huge drinker and kind of an asshole all around.
Oh, the guy likes to use the C word?
Yeah. The joke with him was always like, it's not that you're wrong, it's just that you're an asshole. Like that's how I would put Loomer in that camp
Well, that was what was that?
from Lebowski.
Lebowski,
That's
yes.
yeah. It's not that you're wrong, it's just that you're an asshole. So anyhow, that's all. Oh, real quick, they picked up his wife and they said that she got stopped on a traffic stop, but then
Hold on,
later, yeah, go ahead.
before you keep going on this, I just looked up examples of inaccurate claims attributed to Laura Loomer include false claims about
She's
President Biden's
that.
health.
Hold on, real quick before you say anything else. The call that I got that was like, "What do you think about Loomer's tweet?" That tweet was that Biden was dead and he was replaced with a double. And if you look at these two pictures, he's taller in one than the other. And this
Did they
person,
really think that?
this person that is like close to me was like, "Hey, what do you think? You think that's true or not?" And I was just like, "God, no, I don't think it's true." Anyhow, that's what got me onto Loomer. Go ahead.
So false claims about President Biden's health, misinformation regarding President Kamala Harris, conspiracy theories about school shootings and other events. I don't even know what that is, but
Probably Sandy Hook,
oh,
like Alex Jones. I'm guessing.
oh yeah, yeah. The Haitian immigrants eating pets,
Yeah, she was big on
claims
that.
about 9/11 attacks. Oh, she claimed that it was an inside job.
Okay.
She's still claiming that. Um, False claims about family members of Judge Juan Merchan. Okay.
He was the judge in New York for like these the one thing that Trump actually got convicted of. What
So
was that?
she just lies a lot and people trust her.
Yeah.
Like she's not, I mean, none of the like I
Anyhow,
don't know.
yeah.
What is wrong with our society, man? We're
Social.
like
We
I'm bracking my brain. We've got issues. But
stop racking your
me and
brain.
you can like sift through it. Our brains are
We,
fine.
we think we can. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're completely wrong. Here's the thing. The thing about being stupid is you don't know you're stupid. Okay, I've heard that a lot, and I think it makes sense. And there's a solid chance that me and you are sitting here going, "How come we're able to sift through the news and find the truth, and nobody else is? And what if we're totally inaccurate? What if we're
So
believing the wrong
selling
stuff?"
off all of our public land is like perfectly normal. Like we should do that for money.
Well, the other side of that is they're not going to do that. Why do you think they're going to do that? Because you're reading stuff that you see online that says they're going to do that. Maybe that's not true.
It's in the bill.
Have you read the bill or have you seen things online that say it's in the bill?
God damn it. Is it in the bill?
I'm telling you right now. Here's one thing that you've done a great job, especially in the past year or so. You've done a great job of now like paying attention to what the other side is saying too. You're not in a bubble. I think at one point you were in a bubble and you've come out of your bubble. But the other part of that is like understand that like what I see and what I think is true might not be. Like I'm very aware. I try to be aware of that all the time. I say it on the show all the time. I say I think that's right. It might not be. I don't know. Like I'm going off what I think. There's a lot of for everything that's happening, you can find a narrative that fits one side and then a completely different narrative that fits the other side, and you have to decide which one of those you want to go with.
No, I don't. You know, yeah, and I have.
Okay.
The side that I'm on is the side that doesn't get rid of our illegal immigration immigrants who pick our food and do a lot of good jobs, and they have great communities and amazing food, and they add to our society. I don't want them gone. I don't want our public lands gone. I love our public lands. I like to hike, I
Okay.
like to fish, I like to hunt, I like to get in the water. Like, I don't want them to sell that public land off. I also don't want them to get rid of healthcare for people who can't afford healthcare. Like,
Yeah.
there's no choice. I'm going to believe the left wing of this society, I
But
guess.
you kind of said this earlier. You know that they're not 100% accurate. There's times where they're wrong on stuff, right? You said that earlier. Sometimes the left gets it wrong and makes some shit up.
Okay.
You said that earlier. Would you agree that you said that earlier?
1% to
Not
99%.
not as often as the right in your mind, but there are times.
1% to 99%.
So all I'm saying is leave room in the back of your head to question what you're seeing, even if it's from someone that you think is correct or that you
I've
trust.
got another one. I don't want science to be dead. I think science
Yeah.
is absolutely
Well,
the answer. There's no lying in science.
that's the thing. So half the people think that science is the answer and there's no lying, and the other half think that science is the work of the devil. I don't know. It could be either one, right? Could be either one. The devil
I'm
could
starting to
control
think that I'm a
science.
genius over here. And these
That's a problem. I'm just saying. I try to leave it open that I might not be like just like I said. Leave. It's not doubt. It's curiosity. Leave some curiosity in the back of your head, even if you hear some shit that. Especially if you.
curiosity that thinks that science is just all fake and the work of the devil.
But no, not that one. I was joking. They do. There's people that think that completely. But confirmation bias is a real thing that we all fall victim to. And if I ever read something that I'm like, yes, I was right, it's like a red flag in my head where I'm like, hold on, time out. Let me go look at the other side of this. Because I quickly was happy to read this because it confirmed what I already believed. And that's a scary slope to go down. So if you're ever reading anything and you're like, thank God, this is exactly what I was hoping was the case, and it turns out it is the case, be wary of that. So, and all the people that applies to all the people today that saw, oh, sweet, it's a Democrat that was the shooter. Awesome. Like, if you saw that and you were like, thank God it was a Democrat, that's a red flag. You confirmed your bias right off the bat. You should be aware.
But he wasn't a Democrat.
But they think he was. And when they read that, that's all they needed. At this point, anything they see that disagrees with that, they're going to push out right away and say that's a lie because they already read it once and it confirmed what they believed.
I'm confirming my case right here.
You're
Like the
confirming the
Democrats
confirmation.
are te the Democrats tell the truth and the Republicans lie.
It's not always that way, man.
And 99% of the time it's that
Okay.
way. Right?
No, I wouldn't say 99. I'd say it is a huge disparity. It's way
Where
more
would you put it? Where would you put it?
80-20. And it's only because of people like the Midas Touch Network that have me bumped it up to 20 now because of the shit I'm like, man, that's if they're getting
Well,
people
it's
riled up
yeah,
over their headlines, then that's part of the problem.
you're right. Their headlines are bad.
Yeah.
I will agree. Like I think they do a good job reporting, but I also think that their headlines are
But that's
just
the
like
that's the number one Democratic podcast by far.
it's just the headlines. I feel like once you
Yeah.
click on it, like it's the reporting is different than what the headline
He
says.
starts off by going, "Oh, what a terrible day for Donald Trump." He was embarrassed, and then they show you what happened, and you're like, "That
Yeah.
you way overblew this, buddy." So
Yeah.
and yeah, hold on. We got to get on the new topic real quick. But I will say his wife was caught. They made it seem like she got pulled over, but then it turned out later that they were tracking her phone and like found her and like pulled her over with like 12 squad cars. His wife, this is the shooter in Minnesota. His wife had a gun, a lot of cash, multiple passports. So, and she was heading north out of Minnesota towards the Canadian border.
Multiple passports.
Multiple passports. So, like I said,
Interesting.
there's some weird, like, I'm not even ready to be like, this guy was definitely MAGA. It looks like he was, but there's some weird shit. I think that this guy might be one of those guys that doesn't fit neatly into the box we want him to. He might be a little bit all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So, that's all I'm saying on that one. So, anyhow,
But the right jumped ahead and saw one little stack of pamphlets, which he probably like saw the pamphlets and was like, "I'm going to take these so nobody really knows the King's
yeah.
protest is going on," and stick them in the car. And then they blow it out of proportion, and now half the country thinks that he's
Or the first thing I
like
thought
no
is that
King's
he was gonna.
protester.
The first thing I thought is he was gonna go get as many of these people as he could, and he was gonna leave flyers there as a calling card or to confuse police or whatever. But that was my thought, is he was gonna just to try to throw police off the scent, put the flyers in the house after he killed them. I don't know.
Yeah, but the hysteria from the rights making him look like saying that he is a No Kings protester makes the No Kings protest look bad, which may or may not rile up the cops in these protests, right? Which
I
could lead to somebody dying or, bad things happening.
the cops definitely didn't buy any of that because that wasn't a problem. So
Yeah, I'm talking about the cops that were in LA and Denver this weekend. And, the ones that were firing bullets and, you know, really riling up the peaceful protests. Like when a
did
when a group of people are chanting peaceful protest, and they're getting rubber bullets and tear gas shot on, like,
did that happen in Denver? Because as far as I could tell on the news, L.A. got out of hand and Portland got out of hand, but I didn't see anything about Denver. So
so I went during the day.
okay,
They had No Kings protest, and then they had an ICE protest after that.
okay.
And I stayed through the ICE protest, and around 5 o'clock, like everybody just kind of dispersed. And, it wasn't like there was still, 200 or 300 people hanging on, but like most people just kind of went their way. And then
Okay.
I don't know, this morning I got up and I started looking at the news, and like sure enough, Denver, like right around sunset to 9 o'clock, like the Denver police came out and like cleared everybody off.
So, and real quick, and I'm going to have you tell most of this because I don't want to be wrong about it. But you went to one of the protests in 2020, I think, down in Denver, and you went down there kind
Yeah,
of
I went
from
to
a
the George Floyd one, like
and
right after it was right after, like, I think Minnesota was on fire,
and
like that next weekend.
you went as more of like of a photography opportunity. You didn't really go
Yeah.
as like, yeah, you were there to be, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
I go down there and I go, I'm there to support, but I'm also there with my camera taking pictures as a journalist.
so, but if I remember correctly, what you told me about that one is that like everybody was being pretty chill, and then at one point, all of a sudden, the cops decided they were going to push the crowd, or there was something where, in your mind, the cops kind of started the ratcheting up of tensions. Is that, am I wrong on that?
Um, it was both ways, I feel
Okay.
like.
See, I'm
Yeah. I
glad.
feel like
Correct
the
me.
the crowd was definitely antagonizing the police, but the police weren't backing down. And
Well, the cops shouldn't back down.
the cops absolutely fired the first shot, but
Okay.
they're the only ones with guns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
well, I'm glad that it didn't get that bad, I guess. And like I said, Denver, I didn't see on national news, so I didn't see that. Now, L.A., as we've talked about, L.A. looks forward to an opportunity to burn their city to the ground. So the thought that was
yeah.
going to stay peaceful all night is a joke. But L.A. is a special case. Portland also, when Portland popped up, is like, oh wow, there was some shit going on there. Portland burned their federal building to the ground back in 2020. So like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, Portland and LA, it's like, okay, well, clearly they were going to be an issue, but it looks like everybody else pretty peaceful. I'll say this. I went to the Tulsa one. I went with two buddies. Um, the thing that was most impressive is that the crowd seemed like there was conversations beforehand, like almost like training of like, here's how we're going to handle if like agitators show up, MAGA people, because there were two trucks, big trucks, diesel trucks that had three flags. Both of them had three flags on the back. Trump flags, American flags. One of them had a Confederate flag with an AR-15.
No.
Confederate flag, AR-15 said, "Come and take it." Um,
Oh, what
anyhow,
a dick.
and there was a driver and a passenger in each one, and the passenger was like hanging out the side of the car, like giving the middle finger to the crowd and all that. But anyhow, we showed up about 30 minutes after it started, and the first time that truck came by, like everybody was like, "They're coming, turn around!" And everybody turned their back on both sides of the streets. Everybody turned their back to the street and went, "Shame, shame, shame," with their back turned as they drove by, and they slowed down to like a crawl and were trying to yell stuff at the crowd and get the crowd to engage and probably to start then, oh, there's a fight that broke out,
Man.
and the crowd was very disciplined, like they were not going to fall for that shit, and then as soon as the truck would be out of sight, they'd turn back around and do their normal stuff. It
Huh.
was
Did you
it,
get video of that at all?
I did. I got a video right here. Let's play this. It's a good time for it. This is there were three different ones in Tulsa. We went to the one that was downtown. So here's a quick little view of my dine.
Copenhagen from this gas station for 30 days because you haven't replenished the old cans of Coke. I heard that shit was like I don't know how he got up there.
It was good to see Jesse there.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to spot him shirtless. But
Yeah.
yeah, so there were three different ones in Tulsa, and the estimate is that it was 4 to 5 thousand people between the three of them. The one I was at, what's funny is if I had to estimate it, I would have said like 700 to 1,000, but I'm terrible at estimating. Like we were lined up along the street. I later saw that it was about 2,000 to 2,500 is what they think were downtown, and then actually the one that was out of downtown was apparently bigger. So either way, in the Tulsa area, there were three. No issues. Most cities got along just fine. Now in Virginia we had a guy that used his car, which, man, so a guy used his car and ran over two people that are both in critical condition. That guy got caught. It was a young kid. Uh,
Hmm.
he's in jail right now. What was weird is we talked about it on the way there, and the governor of Oklahoma, Governor Stitt, had given a big speech the day before No Kings, and he basically said like he signed a president or I guess a governor proclamation that was basically giving Oklahomans the right to run over protesters with a car. And it was like if they're blocking the road and you think your life's in danger, like run them over and you will not get charged with anything.
Hmm.
And everybody was questioning he doesn't have the authority. That's still gonna go to court. Like if you believe what the governor just said there, like that's not gonna carry any water. But
Yeah.
we were wary of it to the point where there were like two times we had to park and walk through downtown to get there, and like two times we jaywalked, ran across the street, not at a light, and like if there was a car even nearly coming, we were like, get the fuck out of the road, like they're allowed to run us over. Like that was it was on our minds every time we crossed the street. But we got down there. I'll say this, I've never been to a rally or a protest before, and I didn't really know what to expect, so I didn't take a sign or anything. Like I kind of went and stood, and when the crowd did certain things, I would help. I would do it too, but like I was more of an observer for this. Um,
Yeah.
one of my buddies did alter his shirt, and so he put a little bit of work into it. Um, but it was a fun time. Also, in addition to the Virginia guy that ran over two people in Utah, a gunman shot somebody, I think in the head, and they're not dead. They're in critical condition. And fun, I didn't pull the video, but the guy like disappeared into the crowd, and at one point, like the cops were like searching the area and had everybody down on the ground, and somebody was like, "That's fucking him right there," and
Oh, yeah.
he was in the crowd trying to blend in, and so I'll say this. That guy didn't look like a Republican. He very well might have been, but if you just based off appearance, if I had to put him in a bucket, I would have thought he was one of the protesters. He had long hair, like kind of tall, skinny, long hair, wearing all black. Like
Hmm.
didn't jump out and say MAGA right away. But I've not seen
Looked like
any.
a hippie.
He did. He. What's funny is at the one in Tulsa, like 70% of the crowd was like exactly what you would think. Like as far as appearance wise, like hippie chicks, there was a large LGBTQ presence. There were a couple dudes out there wearing like short shorts and whatnot, and they looked like they worked
Hmm.
out, like they were in shape. Um, but then it was weird because there was about 30% of the crowd that did not look like it was like white dudes, like older white dudes, like I don't know, people that I would have put in the MAGA bucket that were just there and smart branding. I don't know who came up with the No Kings thing. Whoever it is gets an award, in my opinion, because the last major political movement with Trump was back in 2018, 2017 or 18, and it's the Women's March. Remember it was in cities all across the nation. They were
Yeah,
wearing
pussy hats.
exactly, they were wearing the pussy hats, and like that was a big deal. Apparently, more people nationwide were out Saturday than during the Women's March. They estimated 4 to 6 million people nationwide, which was bigger than anything the Women's March did. Now, the Women's March, it got a lot of people energized, but it wasn't going to bring anybody over from the other side. Because, like, the pink pussy hats and all that, like, it was easy for the right to be like, look at these crazy feminists. Like, it kind of,
Yeah.
the No Kings is a different animal. It's smart. Whoever, and maybe they stumbled onto it by mistake, but like, America at its core is
Well,
we
didn't
left.
the White House tweet something with Trump, like a photo of Trump with a crown on his head?
They might have. I did not see that, but it would not shock me. But like the whole anti-oligarch, anti-ruling class, like all that, like that's Republican thoughts there. Like when you really dig down, like
It
Republicans have
was. It
generally
was.
it was. It's not so I I got to give them credit because there were American flags galore. I think I had one Palestinian flag and two Mexican flags that I saw the entire time I was there, and I saw a bunch of American flags. And a lot of them were like the little ones, but like the American flags galore.
There was a
This
lot of
was
Mexican flags in the in Denver.
so I think the reason I didn't see many Mexican flags is as I moved up here from Dallas, DFW area, which is very Hispanic. And like
Yeah.
when I got up here, instantly I was like, "Are there no Mexicans here?" And like every now and then I'll see like a work crew, and I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Huh.
Like I almost want to take a picture because it's weird. It's like I saw a Mexicans today. Like they're not in Oklahoma. And if you're gonna go beyond Texas, why Oklahoma? If you're gonna leave Texas, go somewhere
Yeah.
cool. They're not
Yeah,
coming to
you're gonna
Oklahoma.
go to
Yeah,
California or Colorado or yeah.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
you're not
coming
sticking
here.
around
So
Oklahoma,
yeah,
the most racist state in the
exa-
union.
yeah. So, but I'll say that I was proud of that because if I would have gotten there and there would have been 50 Palestinian flags and this was all about Palestine, it's like
Hmm.
I'm with you on that for the most part. But like that's not why I'm here today. I'm here for the no king side of thing, and so
Yeah.
I liked how we in Tulsa kind of kept it that way. But not only was this smart marketing and could it like it could legit grab some Republicans who are not happy with how things are going right now. Like they're down with the no king, no oligarch. Like it's it kind of appeals to the average American, and I can't stress this enough. Like compared to Pussy Hats, I want to give them an A plus plus. Like yes, this one is a good messaging idea. Pussy Hats was
Yeah.
not, although Pussy Hats did energize the base. This energizes the base, but hopefully also might bring somebody across. Not many, but maybe. Um,
Yeah.
you know what else was
I mean,
smart?
is it gonna keep going? That's the thing.
I don't. I think they should use it sparingly because if they start doing it once a month, less people show up. But like when a big event happens, bring back no kings. You know what the
Okay.
other smart move they made? Whoever's organizing this, which I laugh because the Republicans Saturday night were like, "Well, that was clearly organized and blah blah." Well, no. Anytime there's a protest, the local Democratic parties are organizing and putting out mailers and all that. Of course, that's happening on both sides. But somebody at the top made the smartest decision when involving all this. They didn't let the Dem leadership get involved. I didn't see Hakeem Jeffries or Schumer or Pelosi or any of them at any of these rallies because in the past when they've tried to have a rally in D.C., the crowd's going nuts. Okay, Schumer's going to talk now, and like Schumer just brings the energy down. Like it's
Oh
not
yeah.
good, and they kept them out of this, and I'm all for
Good.
that. Like let the people talk. Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and Pelosi are kind of negative draws for right now. Like, do not
Big
bring
time.
people are not happy with them. So
Well, they're taking money from Israel and now they're bombing two or destroying two other countries.
yeah, well, like I said, we'll get to that in a minute. Overall, just from news coverage you saw and from your experience being there, would you say that the No King, this is something we should repeat a couple times in the next couple of years, or would you like to make changes? Was there anything you saw that you're like, this shouldn't, or maybe they
Well,
should do?
what's gonna happen? LA is gonna keep going.
Okay.
Once a fight starts, a fight's gonna keep going, right?
It can't go on for very long. How long do you think it goes?
LA,
Yeah. It's not
um,
going on for 3.5 years till he leaves.
until one side wins,
The police are going to win eventually.
unless the city burns down.
Eh, the city's not really burning right now. I keep seeing like these like
No,
Republicans that are
it's
like
not, but
LA
it
is on
could.
fire. It's like no, it's not on fire right now. And
They
also
they lit a bunch of cars on fire. That's about it.
they lit like five Waymos, like the
Waymo,
yeah they
yeah.
lit and Waymo. There was a video of like 100 Waymos in a line driving on a highway out of LA. Like they sent them all somewhere. It was hysterical. But yeah, like and
Pretty
even like
good.
when they show it on maps, like LA is huge. Like the area where this is all happening is like 1% of LA, and that's where all this is
Oh yeah.
concentrated. But I think the
Oh
police
yeah.
are eventually going to get under control. And we said it last time. And on the way to the No
Under
Kings,
control, it was a peaceful protest.
well, it's not anymore. And
It was a peaceful protest until the cops showed
I
up.
agree. But I'll say that you know my thoughts on people like getting out of control with these things and turning it into a riot. I can't stand that. And I told the two guys I went with, I was driving, and I told them, I said, hey, I said, if the protesters start getting stupid and like shit starts getting broken or glass breaks or whatever, I was like, I'm out of here. And they both agreed with me. They were like, yeah, we're not fucking around with that. Like we're going. So luckily that did not happen. Had it started to get like that, I would have been gone in a second. I'm not getting arrested. No, sir. Yeah. Um, anyhow, what would you have changed? Or do you like
About
it
the
the way it
protest?
is? Yeah.
More people.
More people. Okay. 46. That's the largest single day protest across the nation ever.
They say we need 3.5% to actually make changes in the
Okay.
country.
Well,
Three
hopefully.
and a half percent protesting.
I'll tell you what, if they keep it peaceful, more people will come out. If they start to devolve into shit shows, people ain't coming out. So
No,
uh,
people will come out for the. I don't know.
the
Maybe I'm
wrong
wrong.
the wrong kind of people. The people that don't vote will
Yeah.
come out for the shit show. The people that vote won't come
Oh
out
yeah.
unless it's calm. So that's what we
Oh
need.
yeah.
So
Well, and that's a good question. Like how many, what percentage of the population are just degenerates and just like, oh, there's a riot downtown, let's go. This is gonna
I
be awesome.
there
I'm kind of in that, I'm kind of in that like space. Like I'm gonna go take pictures of some wild shit right now. Like
so
this is awesome.
me and you are different because if I would have thought Saturday was possibly going to get wild, I wouldn't have gone. Like I only went because I was like,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to. And it was from 12 to 3. The times that they set these up were great. And get like once like 3:30 hit, everybody dispersed. Get everybody out of there before dark. Only bad things happen after dark. So I liked how they had all of them had like they were morning or afternoon protests and then they were done. And like the organizers were like, okay, everybody go disperse because they knew if anybody sticks around past the sun going down, cops are going
Yeah,
to start pushing
that's when the
people.
cops are going to come and be like, okay,
Yep.
you guys got to go. And that's when people are going, no, we don't have to go nowhere.
Yep.
And the cops are like, no, you need to move now. And then they're going to be like, no, fuck you, cop. And the cops going to be like, no, fuck you. And then it's going
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah.
That's when shit happens.
So
That's exactly how it happens every time.
like I said, I think they did good, and my only fear is that they start trying to do it like once a month, and then it loses its potency. Like they need to save it, dude. Wait till Trump does something that a lot of America is upset about, and then have one that very next Saturday. Like, but make it sparing. So
Yeah. Denver's been having a lot of them lately.
yeah. Anyhow, so on the same day, did you see that Trump had a birthday parade? And actually, I
No, I
want
had no clue.
I want to be nice about this. I'm going to say I was very worried that it was going to be the Trump birthday parade, and that's why I disliked this so much. I thought this was going to be all about Trump, and for the first 95% of it, it was not. Trump was on stage, and you saw him a lot watching it. He had weird facial expressions, like he was either unhappy
He
or
looked like he was
tired.
about to cry.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The
I can see
crowd.
why he was about to cry because nobody showed up to his birthday party.
Okay. And that's one of those where I'm going to tell you right now, the left is exaggerating this a little bit. Okay, I will say
Are they?
they are a bit. Okay, I'm gonna try to set the record straight and be very fair about this. Okay,
Okay, let's hear it.
so first of all, most of the mainstream news, there was one word that kept getting used, and hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. What do they call it? Damn it, I didn't write it down. Uh, Modest. It was modest. They kept saying a modest turnout. Modest was used in a lot of headlines, like a modest turnout, which means it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what they were hoping for. Now, there are selective pictures going around because if you see what the White House is putting out, it looks like the place was packed. If you see what the
No,
left
it
is
looks like they use creative cropping to not
now,
show
because
any of the stands.
no, because on Fox News they were showing views from behind Trump, and you could see right up front there were a lot of people there, and apparently
Did you see
they
how blurry that was? And of course they're going to pack everybody behind Trump, right?
No, I'm saying like right in front of Trump. Like if you went to the parade, you're hoping to get one of the seats right in front of the White House, right in front of Trump. Like, and if you end up having to be
Right.
all the way down, you're probably like, damn it, I wanted to be up there by Trump. So they were expecting a heck of a lot more people. There were empty bleachers, but the empty bleachers were kind of far down. I have one video.
Yeah.
I I have one video. Just I'm gonna help your side of the argument here. This is I think this came off Fox. I'm not positive. Helping you.
Yeah.
I'm
You
helping
can
you.
hear the wheels of the tank squeaking.
Yeah.
This does not make us look good. It doesn't make it like, why are our wheels squeaking? Who didn't oil the wheels?
So
We need tank mechanics in here.
here's what it looks like happened. Okay. First of all, do you know what the largest inauguration attendance ever was?
That was Obama, wasn't it?
Obama. Do you know how many people it was estimated to be?
I don't remember.
I think it was either 800,000 or 850,000. I think that was
Okay.
the estimates of how many people showed up. Trump's first inauguration, remember when Sean Spicer came out and said it was the largest crowd ever watched? They were very mad because they figured it was going to be more than Obama had, and it turned out to be substantially less. So that's a magic number for Trump right now, as he wants to have an event at the White House or an event of any kind that has over what Obama had. Like he very petty about that shit. Okay.
Very
So their goal was 1 million people at this thing, which is ridiculous. No, 1 million people weren't coming here. But so they had extra bleachers. They had way more seating than they should have planned for. Like if you were
There was
smart,
almost nobody in that video.
That video was down the street, but yes, you're right. You're right. They planned on like they planned on overflow capacity. What they would have been smart to do is to limit the number of bleachers, so they could have said, "Oh my God, look how many people showed up. We ran out of room. Standing
They
room
couldn't even
only."
they there was no way they would have had to have two rows of bleachers
Yeah.
to fill it up on that side.
Yeah, it would have been easy. But like I said, they screwed up because they were expecting a large attendance. Now, also that day it was supposed to rain like crazy all day. So I think if there were people that were considering driving in for it and they saw the weather forecast, I'll bet there's people that said, "No, it's gonna be raining all day. We're not going out there." So the weather kind of hurt them. And then real like their goal should have been like 200,000, which the White House is claiming there were 250,000 people. They keep saying there was a quarter of a million. That's 250,000 people. The
No.
conservative the estimates from the media was that it was probably 100 to 150,000. That's still a big turnout. Like that's for a single location. There was not, here's the deal. There was not a single No Kings protest that had 150,000 people in one location.
I don't think they got 150,000 people.
That's what the media and
I
here's the
mean, I
thing.
looked at a lot of different views and I don't see that. Like,
Yeah. The White House is saying 250. I think that they probably about doubled it. So let's say 125 to 150.
doubt it.
Yeah. Well, and again,
Dun, 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 dun.
your algorithm is full of people that are telling you that nobody showed
I
up
just
and
looked at I just looked at images. Like,
okay.
I mean, there's yeah. Like, I'll give them there was more people there than there was in Denver this weekend, but
Yeah.
there was not more people. How long was this parade? Let's go with this.
And so it had to get or what was the length of the parade? Like
Yeah.
distance? Oh,
Yeah, like
I
a
don't know
quarter
the answer to that.
mile.
They had to move it up a half hour start time because there was rain coming in, and then they had to take out certain components of it. So they shortened the parade and moved it up 30 minutes to try to get it in before the rain. Which I don't know, a doozy. I don't know if you saw Trump today was like, and it didn't rain during the parade. The weathermen all said it was going to rain, and then he through a long ramble basically used that to disprove climate change. I don't even. I didn't pull it. I didn't pull it because I knew it was like, we'll save that for another day. But it didn't rain on the parade. Climate change is fake.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you keep lying to me, there's no trust. I have no trust in the right wing at all
Okay.
at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Well.
yeah, the left seems to do some, you know, inaccurate representations of stuff too, but like I believe them 100% more than I believe the right. Like anything the right says, I'm just like, wait a second, is that true? And I look it up. The left, like I tend to believe them more. Just like, oh yeah, that sounds like Trump didn't
Yeah.
didn't actually talk to Gavin Newsom a day ago, and it was 3 days ago that they already talked about, and like,
Yeah. Which
right.
Trump that's a matter of Trump doubling down when he doesn't have to. Is all he had to do is say, "Yeah, I said it was yesterday. I meant 3 days ago." If he would have just said something like that, it's done. It's over. Nobody's upset. But instead, he doubled. No, I did talk to him yesterday, and it's like you didn't. Anyhow,
And the entire right wing is doing that
yeah,
now, and
yeah,
it just makes me mad.
it does. So hey, real quick, did you see that there were sponsors for the parade?
I saw Lockheed Martin was one of them.
Lockheed Martin, Coinbase, and then the final one's a doozy. Palantir was a sponsor. Who's about to
Of
be?
course.
They're about to be creating the AI database with all of our info. So yeah, I
Of
just thought
course.
that every time they went to commercial, it was like brought to you by Coinbase. I was like, oh wow. Up froze up.
I've been paying attention to the futures.
Okay,
So for tomorrow's stock market to see what was going to happen. Let's see what it is right now. Because oh, it went up.
okay.
Dude, all weekend it was at negative 800,
Oh
like
damn,
700 to 800. Now it's up by 21 points.
damn. Okay, I don't know what would have changed today.
What happened? Yeah.
Don't know. We'll see.
Huh.
I pay no
Okay.
attention. Um,
Trump hasn't been seen in 2 days and the stock market starts going up.
well, and so that's what's weird is so there's let's just say a war on the horizon. Would you feel like that's a accurate description of what we're dealing with? There's a possible war that we're about to get drug into. Would you agree?
I think we're already there.
Yeah, we're pretty
I
much
mean,
in.
we're already
But
we've already been drugged into three wars right now,
to do a
and two
military
of them have
parade,
to do with Israel.
to do a military parade when there's a war on the horizon, first of all, did not
Two
good
wars and
timing.
a genocide. Sorry.
Yeah. Um, Oh, and then sorry, I forgot. So 95% of it was not about Trump, and then at the very end, Trump gets up to talk. Okay, now everybody's saying, and even Fox News was saying this, that they were saying, yeah, it was just kind of a low energy deal. And what happened was they're used to the Trump people to show up as rally mode, like rowdy and loud. But this was meant to be respectful of the armed forces. It's just a different type of event. So compared to your typical Trump event, this was low energy as heck. But it's the kind of it was the appropriate level of energy, I will say. It felt because it was such a drastic change from when Trump speaks, it felt weird.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, really, so they,
Did you see the Gavin Newsom, what Gavin Newsom posted?
I didn't. What did he post?
Okay, you should watch this real quick.
No, and that is a great point. I mean, the optics were bad, and the White House tried to fix it. And hold on, I got to back up to this real quick 'cause it's killing me. Trump gets up to speak at the very end. The parade's over. Trump gets up to speak, and I'm worried at this point. I'm like, shit, they did a good job of making this about the military, and now Trump's going to do a typical rally speech, and he didn't. He really didn't. So
Oh yeah.
I got to give him credit because he was even kind of low energy, and there was one thing he said, and I want to drill down on. But then, as soon as he gets done speaking, he's like, "And I'd like to ask Melania to join me up here." And I thought Melania was going to speak, but she just comes up and stands beside him. And then they stand there awkwardly for about 10 seconds, like just staring ahead. And then all of a sudden, the crowd jumps into singing "Happy Birthday" to President Trump. They tried to make it seem like it was organic. You know that there were White House aides and staffers out there that were getting everybody to do
Yeah,
it, and
of course.
it was so staged because like he's like, "Come on up here, Melania." Then they just stand and wait for the crowd to start singing to them, and then
Yeah.
somebody comes up and presents him with a flag. But that was
Why
really,
didn't they give him a birthday cake or something?
I don't know. That was really it. So they made it about his birthday at the very end, but that was it. Um,
Melania doesn't seem to like Trump at all.
Her face, they keep showing her face where she like smiles, but then when she turns and stops smiling, it's like fuck me. Like she's got like she's very unhappy.
And I thought Trump was gonna cry during the middle of the parade. Like he was just so down and like he seemed bored and like he was like distraught. He was like, nobody showed up for my
Well,
birthday.
and so here's the thing. If you've
Well,
ever seen the parades that China does, Russia does, or even the French, like they're bombastic. Like it's a big deal. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance, like the goose stepping walk almost, it's very neat.
uh-huh, yeah, yeah.
There are videos, like I said, the optics on this for the White House were bad. There's videos all over where it's our soldiers walking and they're not even like walking in sync at all. Like
Right,
I'll bet
right.
Tr I'm
And
betting
there's people on the left that are saying that that was like a
a
I don't know if they're
silent
on the left, but
protest.
yeah, silent protest that they weren't doing the lockstep like march. I read
Yeah.
something earlier. They're like, when you go through basic training, you spend 1 month marching, and that is instilled in you in your in
Yeah.
for your entire life. You are in lockstep with everybody in that group, like
I
no
saw
matter
that.
what.
I saw that same tweet,
And
I think.
yeah.
So anyway, I think that he was probably sitting there. And have you ever been at your birthday party and then you just start to get a little bit bummed towards the end? It's happened to me before, and I don't really know why. I'm just kind of bummed, and I don't. Maybe I had higher expectations for what was going to happen today, and now it's over, and I don't know. It's happened to me, and I saw him and his facial expressions, and it seemed like he was a little down, and it might have been because he thought he was getting the China, Russia, France parade, and what he
Yeah.
got wasn't, it was more of a Fourth of July parade where like people are on top of the tanks waving to the crowds. Like in those ones in the Soviet Union, nobody's waving to the crowds. They're walking very tight. They're saluting. Like it's very formal. And this was more of a Fourth of July parade.
Well, yeah, this was more of an informational parade, really. They were just kind of
Yeah,
they were doing a salute to the military, which
dude.
I was actually I'm happy that that's the way they did it, and not like the
Yeah,
China, Russia,
but that's not
North
what Trump
Korea.
wanted. Trump wanted the China.
I think
And
he did.
The Russian media, I've seen clips all day long of this, but Russian media is making fun of our military parade, like
Oh,
hardcore. Yeah, making
dude,
fun
we
of
look
Trump for it.
so weak right
Yeah.
now. We look
So
like little weak bitches right now. It's bad.
one thing I want to this might take some time. I want to make this quick, but we might get into this. But during his speech, he said the rest of the world celebrates their victories and we don't. Like, so he said it's about time we're going to start celebrating our victories. And when he said that, I didn't make much of it. And then I saw on Twitter something that kind of made me think here. And let me just say this: love our armed forces. And any war we've ever won or ever lost, I don't think it was because of the performance of our soldiers. I think it was because we either didn't send enough troops in or a variety of reasons that like leadership or politicians caused. But I don't think like our troops have ever let us down. I want to make that very clear. But after World War II, what are we celebrating? Vietnam didn't go so hot. Korea didn't go so. Korea, then Vietnam, both not good.
Nope.
The first Desert Storm,
I
92.
mean, even World War II, we used nukes. Like that didn't
Yeah,
go so well.
we had some. There was stuff to celebrate, especially before the nukes were used. The
Yeah.
march, the march through Africa, up Italy, invasion of Normandy, marching across France and into Germany. Awesome job. And then before the nukes were dropped, we went island hopping all throughout the Pacific and had to go through Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and those were just hard fought victories. So like, yeah, the nukes were at the end, but like World War II is worth celebrating. Totally, I firmly believe that.
Up until the nukes.
Korea and Vietnam not worth celebrating.
Nope.
The first Desert Storm we won and we won it real quick, but like Iraq was continued to be a pain after that. So like, what did we really accomplish there? Um, Iraq and Afghanistan early 2000s. Like you want to celebrate that at all? Like, I don't know. That it made me think. Somebody pointed that out, but it's time we start celebrating our victories. Our armed forces don't have a lot to celebrate, and I love America and I love our soldiers. And like I said, most of those, like Vietnam, they were afraid to surge troops in. They back home, people weren't going to take them, expanding how many troops we were sending over to Vietnam, and that's what ended up costing us. We could have done it. Could have done it. That same thing happened in Iraq and Afghanistan too. Where like we needed to surge more troops, and the
Well,
politicians were
stop
afraid to
going to
do it.
pointless wars. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
Why get us into that war in the first place? So
There's no reason. We don't need to be in any of
yeah,
those wars. Israel doesn't need to be in a war with Iran. We don't need to be in a war with Iran. Like
yeah.
get like stay out of wars. Like peace. Peace.
I
Whatever happened
yeah.
to peace on earth?
They're putting us into winless wars. Like where there, what is victory? Like in Afghanistan, what is a regime change? Like that doesn't work
Well,
out
hold on.
ever.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's you can't have a victory if there's nothing that you're fighting. If you're not fighting for anything
Yeah. There needs to be a
besides
stated.
money, besides money. What they
Yeah.
like Afghanistan, Iraq, like that's oil money, that's poppy money. That's like
Secure the oil.
and is it weird that the poppy seeds are all over there in Afghanistan? And then like not too far after that, we start having like opioid addictions in
Yeah.
America.
There's
Isn't that kind of crazy?
I can totally be talked into those conspiracies about like the government being involved in like the like global drug trade and like the stuff we were doing back in the 80s with the Sandinistas. And we were basically, there's a movie with Tom Cruise called American Made that it tells the story perfectly. But we were like moving guns to one spot and drugs to the other. And like we had these black site like pilots flying all this stuff around. And Reagan denied it, denied it, denied it. And then finally was forced to admit that he said it was happening and he didn't know about it, but he's the president and he should have known about it. He probably knew about it all along. But anyhow, but yeah, I totally when you talk about the poppy trade in Afghanistan and it's like, oh, we're trying to stop that, right? And I don't buy that. Like
There's like a lot of accounts of soldiers like guarding poppy fields,
yep.
which was weird, right? That's where it kind of popped into my head. I was like, poppy, that's what they make heroin out of, right?
Hmm.
And painkillers. So
Yep.
what are we doing guarding poppy fields?
Like I said, I'm very open to that conspiracy of us having a part in the global and even I believe before Vietnam, man, I'm not as fresh on this, but like before Vietnam, we were flying stuff in and out of like Cambodia and Laos and all these places, like
Mhm.
helping fund South Vietnam through their drug trade, basically. And there's another movie about that, and I can't think who's in it. Might be Tom Cruise. And yeah, there's somebody. It's shit. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's like an '80s movie about Air America. Damn it, Air America with
Oh
Mel
yeah.
Gibson. That movie is about exactly that. So yeah, I
Hmm.
would completely believe that we have a part in that. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
So anyhow, all right. So just to put a bow on the whole Trump parade, um, like I said, I think the amount of people that showed up was probably what they should have been expecting. They screwed up by expecting more and having too many stands. That's the number one rule in entertainment is you want an overflow crowd. Like, how many people you think are going to be there? Put a few less seats to where the place looks packed. Like, don't over, that's my thought on it.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I mean, the King, like you said, the King's Parade did a really good job, and they had how many millions of people? 3 million people?
4 to 6 is the estimate.
4 to
$4 to 6 million
6 million?
nationwide.
Oh, wow.
Like
Oh,
I said,
that's kind of amazing.
biggest single day protest in American history, if they're right. Who knows? Like I said, it's hard to gauge. Um,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
way we'll be able to tell if Trump is feeling sensitive about this is I have a feeling that this week there are going to be several mornings where I wake up to Trump having Truth Social posts about like the media is trying to lie about the size of our parade, blah 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 blah. It'll be, I'll bet money we see a couple different posts about that, and that's how you'll know that it's affecting him.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, that's him, right?
yeah. So anyhow, last thing, Israel and Iran. How confident do you feel that what you're seeing about what's going on over there is accurate? First of all, where are
Okay.
you seeing the majority of what you're seeing about Israel and Iran? Is it online or is it on the internet news sites? What?
It's online. I'm not paying too much attention. I just keep seeing bomb strikes back and forth. The thing that do you believe that Iran actually had what Iraq or what Israel's saying they had?
I think that if Iran had decided to move forward and get a nuke, that Netanyahu, and I have a video of him again here in a second, but he was on Fox this weekend and he said they were about a year away. Like they could have had a nuke in a year, which they've been about a year away at any point. Now,
Do you believe him? Do you believe Netanyahu?
I think if they decided that's it, we want to make a nuke, I think they could probably get it done in a year because they have Russia's help and Russia has nukes and Russia's
But they
help.
were only able to enrich up to like 6% or something, right?
60. They're 60%, and
60%.
yeah,
Oh,
you need to get to like 90.
okay.
So yeah, supposedly they have uranium up to 60%. They have
But
stockpiles
if
of it.
but if you're at 60, it doesn't seem like it would take that long for anybody at 60 to be able to go to 90.
Yeah, but it's not just a matter of after you get the uranium enriched, like there's also the making it into a bomb and putting it on a missile and making sure all that works right. So like there's more to it than just enriching the uranium. Um, I think they could have
Sure,
had it
but
within a year.
the technology is already out there. So I mean, this is where I'm saying is like almost any country in the world could be a year away from having a nuke.
If yeah, so if they had a nuclear program, which that's
So
what.
he's not technically lying,
Oh no, I don't think he's lying. Now the thing is they've been saying
but
for
they've
a
known
while,
that they're a year away from having a nuke for 10, 20 years now.
30 years roughly, I think. Since
Yeah.
92. What is that? Yeah, it's 33 years.
But they're not
So
trying, but they're
it
but
comes down.
this is the thing, is like this is semantics, right? And it's like,
Okay.
okay, we're bombing this country because they're 1 year away from having a nuke. But like so is South Africa or Venezuela or
So no,
Mexico. Like
no.
they're all 1 year away from having a nuke. Like let's
n-
just bomb all of them. Why not?
So incorrect. Like so, not a lot of countries have a civilian nuclear program or a nuclear program at all. So for like a country like South Africa, I'm guessing here. I doubt they have a nuclear program whatsoever. So for them to get from zero to where Iran is today, I think would take years. It would take multiple years, 5 years maybe. But now, if
Okay.
it's a country that does have a civilian nuclear program, then yes, I'll bet everyone with a civilian program could probably figure out how to make a nuke within a year or so. You're right on that. But there's not a lot of countries that are playing with nuclear, period, just in general. So
Okay. Fair
anyhow,
enough.
um, what really the argument here is because I think we both agree, like, okay, yeah, they probably could have done it in a year if they wanted to. The argument is they've been saying that they're not trying to pursue a nuke, and either you believe them or you don't. You think they're lying, and clearly they're trying to build a nuke secretly without letting anybody know. Um, I could see how people could fall on either side of that argument because, like, if you're Iran, you know that like the U.S. and Israel don't want you there. They're very afraid of you and they want to attack you. The best defense is to have a nuke. So once they get a nuke, then they can kind of use that as to hold everybody hostage. You better not attack us. So I could be sold on they were trying to develop a nuke. Now during the JCPOA, the Obama Iran deal, like we had inspectors that were showing up unannounced and touring all their nuclear facilities.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, they were following it. They were not trying to do anything behind anybody's back. Right now, we don't have that agreement with them. So, in my mind, instead of attacking them, the best thing to do is to get a new agreement, which is what Trump said he was trying to do. Trump is now saying, and Netanyahu was on Fox tonight, but they're saying basically it was a brilliant move. We were tricking them. We were negotiating with them so that they would drop their guard so Israel could attack. It's basically what Netanyahu's saying now. Trump is in on it, and real quick, the whole fear that Israel's trying to drag us into this war. Let's watch this real quick. This is Netanyahu tonight on Fox. It does seem like he wants America to jump into this.
100%.
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with him in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He said, made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot enrich. He's been very forceful. So for them, he's enemy number one.
Yeah.
Look, they also tried to kill me, but I'm his junior partner.
When did
they
you
understand that President Trump is a great threat to Iran's plans to weaponize nuclear weapons and use them?
I trust that guy as much as I trust a raccoon with rabies.
So I'm telling you right now. So on you know how we talk about the corporate Democrats, like corporate media Democrats versus the independent? So the corporate Republicans, like Fox News is the main example of that. New York Times, or sorry, New York Post is the Republican one. But like they are prepping Republicans for, hey, we need to go to war with Iran. Like that's what it's the last 2 or 3 days. It's been ramping up. And like what you just saw is an example of what Fox is doing. Hey, Iran's been trying to kill our president. I don't hear that. They've been trying to kill Trump. We got to do something. So they're trying to get the public sentiment okay with this. Now, luckily,
so they're going to get 30% of the public sentiment, right?
no, I don't think so. So here's where it gets interesting is Tucker Carlson and I think Steve Bannon and his crew, Alex Jones and his crew, like a lot of the far right that I normally don't agree with, I'm with them on this because they are very much like, hey, no new wars. This has nothing to do with us. We should not be funding Israel. There's some anti-Semitism tucked behind it.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of a battle over who has more power, Fox News or right-wing Twitter. And I think right-wing Twitter is holding down at least 50% of the Republican vote right now, maybe more.
Okay.
So that's a struggle. And Tucker had a big post the other day about it, and everybody was pointing that out. Anyhow, what I'm to get back to my original question, I don't feel confident saying I don't think I know how this war is going. If you read a lot of Twitter, and maybe it's just my algorithm, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's saying, "Oh shit!" Like Iran is hitting them back hard. Like for the first time ever, people living in Israel, like Jews in Israel, are feeling the pain of being at war. Bombs are dropping out of the sky in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Like, oh wow, Iran. They basically they did not expect this big a counterpunch from Iran, is what I'm seeing. Okay, but then when I go to the mainstream media, I'm seeing that like no, Israel was surgical. They took out leadership. Iran is rudderless right now. They have nobody in charge of the military. Like Israel is winning this pretty easily right now, is what I'm seeing. So I don't know which one of those to trust. Now I will say this. Iran had hypersonic missiles, and we have yet to see a hypersonic missile deployed. Putin claimed they used one on Ukraine, but it's never been confirmed. But supposedly that's when the first one ever got launched, but we don't have video of it or anything. We have video. Iran is launching hypersonic at Tel Aviv, and the Iron Dome is not picking them all up. Like I don't know what the percentages they're getting, but there's a lot getting through. Have you seen one of these hypersonic missiles? I
saw a video. Yeah, I saw a video of it.
If anybody, I'm going to show this real quick if anybody's never seen one. But what's weird is there's like 3 lights in the sky and they look like they're not moving. And the reason they look like they're not moving is they're coming directly at you. So when someone's coming at you, it's not moving left or right or up or down. And then all of a sudden, one of them bends to go down and it looks like it goes from a standstill to 2,000 miles an hour right into the earth. And it's freaky to see. But if nobody's ever seen this, this is a hypersonic missile hitting Tel Aviv last night.
Huh.
Yeah. So those
Oh,
are getting
so
through. Yeah, watch it again real quick.
that's actually the hypersonic.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
So the other fun thing about that is we noticed that hit in a city center, and the Israelis accuse Hamas in Gaza all the time. They say, well, they use human shields. They put their headquarters underneath hospitals, or they put, their missiles right in the parking lot of schools or whatever. Like they always claim that that's what Hamas is dirty because they're doing that. Well, it turns out that's Israel's playbook too. Like their command center is buried under an apartment complex. They have all these. The Iron Dome missile defenses are like tucked in between apartments and stuff. So like that's the
Hmm.
first thing that Iran is trying to take out is like military installations and Iron Dome batteries, like the missile launchers. So it's hitting right where apartments are. It's not. It's causing damage, and Israel's trying to go. Oh, look, they're attacking civilian spots, and it's like no. You're using them as cover for yourself. So that's exactly what
Mhm.
you accused Hamas of. I want to say this again really clearly. Iran is not the good guy. Like they're not. They're not the good guy in this whatsoever. I don't like.
None of them are a good guy. None of them are the good guy. And
And
Israel struck first, right?
Israel totally struck first, and now they're trying to do this whole like, look at how we're being attacked by Iran. We have a right to defend ourselves, and it's like, no, you don't. You started it. But the other thing we have to realize really clearly, people get brainwashed all the time. In every country, people are brainwashed. There are just a lot of civilians in Tel Aviv and in Tehran that have nothing to do with this. And like, I'm sure if you show the ones in Tel Aviv, they're like, kill all the Iranians. And if you show all the ones in Tehran, they're saying kill all the Jews. They've been brainwashed their whole life. Like, these are innocent people that are getting blown up every night. This has been happening for 4 or 5 straight nights now, and it's just missiles all night long. We haven't hit a point of ground troops yet, and that's kind of the next escalation. It turns out Israel, the Mossad is their like CIA, their special forces. The Mossad had all kinds of like operations where they were building and deploying drones from inside of Tehran. They had like sleeper cells basically, like, and the Iranian police, government, whatever, is finding all of these. So there's raiding these buildings, and it turns out Mossad was like in the middle downtown Tehran building drones to use against Tehran. Like so,
Huh.
yeah.
So
But
can we get food into Gaza now?
no,
Hmm.
don't think so. So anyhow,
So they're still starving. So they're all still starving to death.
yes, and nobody gives us. I'll tell you what, right now nobody gives a shit about them, and nobody gives a shit about Ukraine because America can't focus on too many things at once. So now it's Iran and Israel, and whatever's happening in those other two wars have taken a back seat.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So this could have been another like look over here.
distraction. No, I think Israel really wanted to. They've wanted to go after Iran for so long, and
What a perfect distraction to
yeah,
in time to do it.
it seems like for real. I'm starting to believe that I think that they tried to get America involved, and Trump said, no, no, no. If you attack Iran, you're on your own. And I think that now Israel basically said, you know what? If we attack Iran and we get into war with them, America's definitely getting. So they tried to force our hand. Basically, they said Trump will be there. So now they're at a point where they're kind of getting hit by missiles. Things aren't going good, and apparently they like formally asked America to join the war on their side over the weekend, and Trump said no. And then now Bibi's going on TV tonight saying what we just saw. So like if it hits a point, if Israel starts to lose, I don't see any way that Trump can stay out of it. And I think Trump will be smart where he won't ever put boots on the ground, but suddenly we'll have American aircraft bombing Iran. Like we're going to get involved. I'm starting to think there's no way that because we already are involved. We're helping shoot down Iran's missiles, but I think we're going to get officially involved here pretty soon, unless Israel can win on their own without our help, which it's starting to look like they can't.
If we get involved, does that count as World War III then?
Not yet.
What has to happen for World War III to happen?
One of the other superpowers has to get involved. So, like, if we joined the war on Israel's side against Iran, and then China or Russia join on Iran's side, now we have two superpowers going at it. If we get into it, technically, Article 5 could be invoked, which is then bringing all of NATO into it, which that'd be a weird thing right there. If we join the war on our own, if say we start bombing Iran, the first thing Iran's going to do is start shooting missiles at our military bases in the Middle East. They can't hit America, but they can hit our bases over there. And then we get a base gets hit by a hypersonic missile and 50 servicemen die. Like now we could say Article 5, NATO has to come into this on our side, and NATO does not want to be in this. So
Yeah. Huh. So Russia is in a war right now, and if the United States goes into war, but it's a totally different war, that doesn't count. But if they go to war with each other, then it
yes.
counts.
Thing we got to get to the point where two superpowers are going at it, and in this case, it would be China and Russia both on Iran's side versus us
But we're
and
kind
NATO.
of supporting Ukraine too. So
We
there's
are, but that's the thing is,
so
as
we're
soon
like
as
borderline World War.
they're walking a fine line, because if we suddenly started sending, if one of our planes came in and started bombing Russian positions, we are now at war with Russia, and we've been very careful to not do that.
Okay. Hmm.
So yeah,
Whew.
hopefully no
Yay,
World War
Trump.
III. Like I said, I think World War III can be avoided. I think us going like the scenario that Russia would love. We have been backing Ukraine to kind of be a thorn in Russia's side. Russia wanted to take over Ukraine real easily. We're backing them just enough to where it's not easy, and Russia's losing men and having to spend a lot of money to try to get through Ukraine. So it's very much like what we did to them in Afghanistan back in the 80s. Like they were trying to take over Afghanistan, and we funded the Mujahideen, which was basically later the Taliban. And it's basically a proxy war just to piss off the other side. So if we get involved with the war with Iran, what'll most likely happen is Russia and China will do like we're doing with Ukraine. They won't be officially involved, but they'll be supplying Iran with weapons and intelligence and all kinds of stuff, but to where they're not technically involved, but they're fully
Hmm.
supporting Iran. That's what we're looking at.
Dude, where do they get all this weaponry and money to support? Like this is
So
crazy.
Russia is struggling in that department, but China is not at all, and China and Russia both support Iran. So
Okay.
yeah, so China has enough to step up and help them out.
And we've started a trade war with China. So,
Yes, and it's an easy way for them to kind of give us the finger in this.
hmm.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
Ooh, trade war update. We still have no deals. Just like Trump did say today that he's fixing to send out letters this week, just letting everybody know what the tariff rate's going to be. And then he did say that there are a couple countries we're hoping to get deals with, but the 90 and 90 days is out the window. Like there's 5 or 6 we're trying to get, and the others get a letter. So that's where we're at with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
Yeah,
anyhow,
yay.
that's all I got. So
All right, brother.
all right,
Well,
have a good. Oh wait, let me see here. Okay, I just got to check the list over. Yeah, okay, we got everything covered tonight. No Kings was awesome. Trump's parade was lackluster, and the
like
right,
and subscribe.
the right is full of shit, is what you're saying, basically, right?
The right is full of shit.
Yeah, I think both sides have the ability to be. So, all right, I'll talk to you later, sir.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.